Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bold and Beautiful today. Was Sheila shot by Luna for Steffi and died? Sheila Sharp might save Steffi Forrester's life by taking Luna Nozawa's bullet. Will Sheila have to deal with a terrible departure that provides genuine atonement? It would appear as though there is no escape as Luna lures Steffi into a trap at the beach home. Since Steffi sincerely fears that the end may be nigh, she will have to confront Luna's gun. But Steffi has a surprise hero on the verge of taking action. Sheila will be aware of the precise location of Steffi and Luna's confrontation once she receives updates from Taylor Hayes. Sheila will stop at nothing to prevent Luna from killing John Finnegan's wife because that will also lead her to the beach mansion. Sheila will try her hardest to dissuade Luna from shooting, but it might not be enough. Luna is obviously insane and completely obsessed with getting revenge at Steffi, so Sheila might have to take more extreme action. Will Sheila accept the bullet intended for her by diving in front of Steffi? At the very least, could Sheila seize the weapon from Luna and be shot in the process? It is possible that Sheila will sustain injuries and survive, but it is also possible that she could suffer a terrible fate. In all honesty, B&B doesn't have many options for Sheila's character now that she has changed. Sheila is no longer the thrilling villain she once was, even though she could continue to serve pasta and smooch Deacon Sharp during breaks from work. Perhaps it's time to offer Sheila a redemptive farewell if she will no longer have her signature sinister pizzazz. Keep checking back for updates on whether Sheila will sacrifice her life for her daughter-in-laws, as B&B might accomplish that if she dies rescuing Steffi. Forrester Beach House, a place usually echoing with family arguments or romantic trysts, is poised to become the stage for a moment of shocking violence and potentially profound transformation, centering on the most unpredictable character in Los Angeles, Sheila Sharp. The chilling scenario unfolding suggests Luna Nozawa, consumed by a toxic cocktail of grief, betrayal, and unhinged fixation on revenge against Steffi Forrester, has meticulously lured her nemesis into a deadly trap, cornering Steffi with a gun and the terrifying conviction that this is the end. Steffi, ever the fighter but facing the cold, final reality of a loaded weapon in the hands of someone beyond reason, experiences a primal fear, a visceral understanding that her formidable will and sharp tongue might be powerless against Luna's unraveled psyche and the bullet aimed at her heart. Yet, in this bleakest moment, salvation arrives from the most astonishing, utterly implausible source, Sheila herself. Having received frantic, desperate updates from Taylor Hayes, a call born of pure maternal terror, momentarily eclipsing the deep-seated animosity between Taylor and Sheila, Sheila learns the location of the deadly standoff. Driven not by her old, manipulative impulses, but by a raw, desperate need to protect, Sheila races to the beach house, her singular mission to prevent Luna from extinguishing the life of John Finnegan's wife, the woman who represents not just her son's happiness, but Sheila's own fragile, hard-won connection to him and the grandchild she cherishes. Bursting into the charged atmosphere of the beach house, Sheila confronts a nightmare, Steffi frozen, pale with terror, and Luna, eyes blazing with manic intensity, finger taut on the trigger, utterly unreachable by pleas or threats. Sheila's initial instinct is the one she's painstakingly tried to cultivate, words. She implores Luna, her voice a mixture of urgency and a surprising empathy born of understanding obsession, begging her to see reason, to lower the weapon, to consider the irreversible consequences. Luna, don't do this. Think of your child. Think of yourself. This isn't the way, she cries, attempting to pierce the fog of rage surrounding the younger woman. But Luna, lost in the vortex of her own pain and perceived justification, is impervious. Steffi is the architect of her misery, and elimination is the only solution she sees. Sheila's words bounce off Luna's hardened resolve, the barrel of the gun unwavering, its aim fixed lethally on Steffi. It's in this chilling realization, that reason has fled, that negotiation is futile, that the trigger pull is imminent, that Sheila Sharp makes a split-second decision that could define her entire tumultuous existence. The reformed persona, the pasta-serving, deacon-kissing, grandchild-adoring woman clashes violently with the primal, protective force that has always been her core, even in villainy. Seeing no other path, seeing Steffi's life hanging by the thinnest thread, Sheila acts. The precise mechanics remain heart-stoppingly ambiguous. Does Sheila, in a final, desperate surge of protective fury, physically throw herself in front of Steffi, placing her own body squarely in the bullet's path? Or does she launch herself at Luna, grappling for the weapon in a chaotic, life-or-death struggle, only to intercept the deadly round meant for her daughter-in-law as it discharges in the melee? The outcome, however, is tragically clear: Sheila Sharp is shot. Whether she takes the bullet cleanly shielding Steffi or catches it during the frantic wrestle for the gun, the impact is devastating. The force knocks her back, a sharp cry escaping her lips, followed by a terrifying, sudden stillness or the ragged gasp of punctured lungs. Luna's focus shatters instantly, the gun perhaps clattering to the floor, her rage replaced by shock and horror at what she's done, especially to someone connected to her own child through RJ. Steffi, moments from death, is now frozen in a different kind of shock, staring in disbelief at the fallen form of the woman she has hated, feared, and fought against for years, the woman who has just saved her life at the cost of her own. This potential demise transcends mere shock value. It presents a compelling, tragically beautiful endpoint for Sheila Sharp's chaotic saga. While her reformation has offered moments of bizarre domesticity and tentative connection, the undeniable truth is that the character's core appeal, her dangerous, unpredictable, larger-than-life villainy, has been fundamentally neutered. A permanently pacified Sheila, serving pasta and offering grandmotherly advice, lacks the electrifying tension that made her iconic. Her story feels like it has reached its natural, peaceful conclusion, which, for a character built on chaos, feels inherently unsatisfying. A redemptive death, however, specifically one sacrificing herself for Steffi, the person who embodies her greatest failures and the deepest source of her son's pain, offers a powerful, resonant finale. It would be the ultimate act of atonement, a final, undeniable proof that her love for Finn, Hayes, and even her burgeoning, complicated affection for Steffi as Finn's anchor, was genuine and transformative. It would force every character, especially Steffi and Finn, to confront the impossible. Sheila Sharp, the monster, died a hero. The emotional fallout would be seismic. Finn would be shattered, grappling with the loss of the mother he was just beginning to tentatively accept, consumed by grief and the horrifying knowledge she died protecting the love of his life. His complex feelings of resentment, biological pull, and nascent affection would explode into profound, conflicted mourning. Steffi would be thrown into an emotional maelstrom, the visceral relief of survival crashing against a tsunami of disbelief, guilt, and the unbearable weight of owing her life to Sheila Sharp. Could she ever reconcile this final, selfless act with decades of terror? The anger wouldn't vanish, but it would be irrevocably tangled with an unwanted, undeniable debt and a profound confusion. Deacon, having found genuine, albeit unlikely, love with Sheila, would be utterly devastated, his hard-won happiness obliterated in a single, violent moment. His grief would be raw, palpable, and potentially isolating. Even Taylor, who inadvertently set Sheila on this path, would be forced to confront the magnitude of her call and its unintended, heroic consequence. Ridge, Brooke, Hope, Carter, the entire canvas would reverberate with the shockwaves. Did Sheila truly redeem herself? Can one act, even the ultimate sacrifice, erase a lifetime of manipulation, kidnapping, and murder? The show would be left with these haunting, unanswerable questions, a far richer legacy than simply having Sheila fade into the background of Il Giardino. Her death saving Steffi wouldn't just be an exit, it would be a defining moment for multiple characters, a catalyst for intense, long-term drama exploring grief, guilt, forgiveness, and the bewildering complexity of human transformation. It would grant Sheila a tragic, operatic grace note, finally achieving the connection she craved through the ultimate detachment, leaving behind not just a body, but an indelible, confounding question mark over the lives of everyone she touched, a final, devastating twist only Sheila Sharp could deliver. If this is her end, it's not just a death, it's the culmination of her most audacious, unexpected performance, the villain who became, in her final breath, a savior. The perilous trap of Luna. In the same costume that she wore last year, Luna is going all out. Incompetent Hayes. Luna Nozawa is prepared to finally defeat Steffi Forrester Finnegan because she knows she has little left to lose. She will pay for the numerous times that lady has destroyed her life. She first discovered last year that she was a killer, and now Steffi forbids Luna from seeing her father. That must be altered. Luna surprises Ms. Dillon with a rifle and instructions after the children have left. She forces the young woman to call Steffi to the small art school before tying her up. Steffi is aware that this is a trap and that her nasty stepmother will fall into it. In another scene, Sheila Carter feels she needs to take action because she can't stop thinking about her talk with Luna. She goes to Steffi's house to warn her of what is about to happen, but Steffi isn't there. Rather, she is with a crazy Luna at the beach house art school. Will Steffi wind up back in a cage? Liam has more bad news. Liam Spencer's obsession with shielding Steffi from Luna's fury provided a brief respite from contemplating his sickness. But Steffi isn't even involved in his appointment with Dr. Grace Buckingman this time. When Grace breaks the terrible news to him, Hope Logan is by his side. Is the course of treatment she had him following failing? In order to spend more time with the people he loves, Liam was prepared to endure a very difficult period. Perhaps Hope will persuade him at last that it's time to speak with his father and brothers and explain the situation. $1 Will, Wyatt, and Bill Spencer will be devastated, but at least they will be able to say farewell and know the truth. The air crackled with a dangerous energy, thick with the scent of desperation and long-simmering rage, as Luna Nozawa stood before her reflection. The choice was deliberate, chilling, the exact same outfit she wore a year ago when she first truly went for broke, confronting the Forrester matriarch with accusations that shattered illusions. It wasn't a nostalgic whim, it was armor, a psychological weapon, a grim reminder to herself of the precipice she'd already stood upon, and a silent, terrifying declaration to Steffi Forrester Finnegan that Luna was back at that edge, only this time, she wasn't just jumping, she was taking Steffi down with her. The vibrant colors felt grotesque now, draped over a soul hollowed out by betrayal, grief, and the unbearable sting of exclusion. Steffi, the immovable object in Luna's fractured universe, wasn't just an obstacle, she was the architect of Luna's despair. First, the shattering revelation about Steffi's lethal secret last year, a truth that poisoned Luna's world and nearly destroyed her. And now, the ultimate cruelty, Steffi wielding her influence like a barbed whip, severing Luna's fragile connection to her own father. Hayes Finnegan, the innocent child caught in the crossfire, remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing around him, his cluelessness a stark, painful contrast to the volcanic fury building within his half-sister. That severance, that deliberate exile from her father's life, was the final, unforgivable transgression. Steffi had taken everything, peace, security, family. Now, Luna reasoned with a terrifying, fractured logic, Steffi would pay. The cost? Everything Luna had left, which wasn't much, making her terrifyingly unpredictable, a wounded animal backed into a corner with nothing left to lose but the flickering ember of her own sanity. The Beach House Art School, usually a haven of youthful creativity, was about to become Luna's killing floor. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the rhythmic crash of distant waves that seemed to mock Luna's inner turmoil. Ms. Dillon, the unsuspecting young art teacher, arrived expecting a routine afternoon, perhaps prepping supplies for the next class. The shock on her face when Luna emerged, eyes blazing with a manic intensity, was instantaneous. The orders were barked, sharp and brittle, leaving no room for misunderstanding or negotiation. Before Ms. Dillon could fully process the surreal nightmare unfolding, the cold, unyielding reality of the gun Luna produced froze the blood in her veins. Resistance was futile against the sheer, terrifying force of Luna's desperation. With trembling hands and choked sobs, Ms. Dillon was forced into submission, bound securely to a sturdy chair, duct tape silencing her pleas. The fear radiating from her was palpable, a physical presence in the room, but Luna seemed impervious, her focus laser-sharp on the final, crucial step of her trap. The phone, clutched in her own shaking hand now slick with nervous sweat, felt like a lead weight. Using Ms. Dillon's terrified voice as a weapon, Luna forced the call. "Steffi, please, it's urgent, at the art school, something's happened." The lie was delivered under duress, thin and strained, but compelling enough. Luna knew her target. Knew Steffi's fierce protectiveness, her ingrained sense of responsibility, especially concerning the place where her son Hayes spent his time. Steffi wouldn't hesitate. She wouldn't call for backup first. She would charge in, the fearless lioness defending her pride. Luna counted on that arrogance, that ingrained belief in her own invincibility. The trap was set, baited with Steffi's own virtues turned against her. Luna waited, the gun heavy in her hand, the silence screaming, every nerve ending alive with the electric anticipation of vengeance finally within reach. Would Steffi end up in a cage again? Luna fervently hoped so, a twisted fantasy of containment mirroring the prison Steffi had built around Luna's heart and her connection to her father. Elsewhere in Los Angeles, a different kind of storm was brewing in the mind of another woman intimately acquainted with obsession and vengeance, Sheila Carter. Luna's words, her barely contained fury during their tense encounter, echoed relentlessly in Sheila's mind. She recognized the look in Luna's eyes, a look Sheila herself had worn countless times. It was the look of someone pushed beyond reason, teetering on the brink of irrevocable action. Sheila, for all her monstrous deeds, possessed a terrifyingly accurate instinct for impending disaster, especially when it involved Steffi Finnegan, the object of her own twisted fixation. A cold dread settled in Sheila's gut. Luna wasn't just angry, she was operational. The pieces clicked together with horrifying clarity, Luna's access to Steffi's life through Hayes, her seething resentment, her lack of options. Sheila realized, with a jolt of something akin to horrified responsibility, that she had to do something. Luna's rampage, fueled by Sheila's own past poison whispered into her ear or simply observed, could not be allowed to culminate in Steffi's demise. Not by Luna's hand. That privilege, in Sheila's warped worldview, was hers alone. Driven by this perverse sense of ownership and a desperate need to avert catastrophe that might permanently remove Steffi from her orbit, Sheila sped towards Steffi's cliffside mansion. She burst through the door, breathless, urgency radiating from her, only to be met by an empty foyer and Finn's wary confusion. Steffi. Where is she? It's Luna. She's going to do something terrible. But Steffi was already gone, lured by the fabricated distress call straight into the heart of Luna's meticulously laid, and undeniably dangerous, trap at the art school. The race was on, a collision course of furies hurtling towards an explosive confrontation, with Sheila Carter, of all people, potentially the only one who understood the depth of the madness about to unfold. While Luna prepared her battlefield and Sheila raced against time, Liam Spencer sought a different kind of confrontation, one waged within the sterile, unforgiving walls of a doctor's office. The reprieve he'd found in hyper-focusing on Steffi's potential peril, channeling his own fear and helplessness into the tangible mission of protecting her from Luna's brewing storm, was over. Reality, cold and clinical, reasserted itself in the form of Dr. Grace Buckingham. This appointment was solely about him, the ticking time bomb inside his own body. Hope Logan, a steadfast presence radiating quiet strength and deep concern, sat beside him, her hand finding his in a silent offer of solidarity that spoke volumes more than words ever could. The air in the consultation room hung heavy with unspoken dread as Dr. Buckingham entered, her usually composed expression etched with a gravity that instantly tightened Liam's chest. The pleasantries were brief, perfunctory. Then came the words, delivered with professional compassion that did little to soften the blow, the latest scans, the blood markers, the relentless progression of the disease despite the aggressive, punishing treatment Liam had endured with such stoic determination. The treatment plan, the brutal regimen he had clung to as his lifeline, his desperate gamble for more time, was failing. The reprieve he fought for, the extra months or years he was willing to suffer unimaginably for, was slipping through his fingers like grains of sand. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the frantic hammering of Liam's own heart against his ribs. Hope's grip on his hand tightened, her eyes glistening as she absorbed the devastating news alongside him. The fight seemed to drain out of Liam, replaced by a crushing wave of despair and the terrifying immediacy of his own mortality. In that suffocating moment, Hope's earlier pleas echoed with newfound, heartbreaking urgency. It was time. Time to stop bearing this impossible burden alone. Time to face the people who mattered most, his father, Dollar Bill Spencer, the titan whose world would fracture, his brother Wyatt Spencer, his loyal confidant and partner in navigating life's chaos, and his young son, Will Spencer, who deserved to understand, to say goodbye to the father he adored. The news would devastate them, shatter their worlds with the force of a supernova. But hope was right. The truth, however brutal, was the only path left. They deserved to know. They deserved the chance to hold him, to love him fiercely in the time remaining, to etch their final memories before the encroaching darkness claimed him. The Spencer family was about to face its greatest test, united not by business or rivalry, but by the profound, shattering weight of impending loss. As Luna plotted vengeance and Steffi walked into a trap, Liam faced a different, more intimate abyss, the walls of his carefully constructed silence finally crumbling under the weight of Grace Buckingham's terrible, inescapable truth.